This is Betty Banjack, and this is Downtown Kitchen. I'm so glad you could come and visit me again today. We're going to do something a little different. I'm not going to have a special guest. I'm going to be my own special guest, and I'm going to take the time to show you one of my favorite things that I work on, which is vinegars and liqueurs. Some of it's, you may not understand it, or you go, what? Don't to worry. We have an instruction sheet that'll be ready to be sent out to you if you send me a stamped self-addressed envelope, and, to Downtown Kitchen, Post Office Box 1660, and the zip code is 1404. And that way you can have all the instructions how to do this. Just watch carefully, and again, if you want to try it and make it, don't worry about writing everything down. We have it for you. First, I'm going to start with vinegars. Vinegars are the first thing that I ever tried after the canning of peaches and peppers and everything like that. And there's all kinds, and there's all ways to do it. There's a fruit vinegar, there's an herbal vinegar. A little more background. There's 3 kinds of vinegar I use. Now, the vinegars I use are already distilled. There's cider vinegar, which is the yellowish color, amber color. The white distilled vinegar, which is white. And then there's the red wine vinegar. I usually use between the white and the golden colors. I don't use the red too much except for effect or if something special. Just there's a couple reasons. It isn't necessary, and it only comes in small bottles, and it's much more expensive than the other vinegars you can get for about $2 a gallon. To tell you how cheap it is. With a little white red wine vinegar costs a lot more. I'm going to start with the fruit vinegar. This is one of my favorites. It can be done with any kind of fruit that you like. I even have some blueberries here to show you. This is raspberries. You can use fresh ones. You can use frozen ones. You can do anything you want. You could mix them if you want. I always like to make a 3-berry vinegar. I put like strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries together. And so all you need to do is take the raspberry. Oop, I see a little messy. And make sure you make sure you pick through them, and they're all clean and no sticks and stones and things like that. And you just take them. You can do it with anything you want. I use the potato masher. Just flush them up a little bit. So there's many. Whoops! It seems to make so much noise there. These were pre-frozen, so they're going to give you a lot of liquid and a lot of water. This isn't a big batch, as you can see. This you have to determine, and what I want to say is the vinegar and the liqueur, when you decide that you're going to make them, and you really will if you get done, because it's so much fun and a great gift giving, try only one at a time. Don't go out and decide you're going to make 62 flavors or 62 kinds. Try with one, and that will give you the feel of how much vinegar you may need, how much vinegar you don't need, what you want to put in it. When I go to the herbals, I like to mix things, so we'll get there. I've decided that this size, this much raspberry would take about this much vinegar. So all that I have to do with this, I'm going to put it in a jar. This is really good because it's really wet and a lot of size, so it's really going to give off a lot of color. When I want to give off color like the fruits and all, I always use a white vinegar. I use the yellow or amber vinegar when I do more herbal things. It's all a feel. It's like being an artist, deciding what color you want to use with what you're putting in it. Since this is a little tart, I'm going to put in about 2 or 3 tablespoons of sugar. And over here I have very low, this is the vinegar, this is the amber, this is the white. Very low heat, and just so they come to a simmer, I don't boil them. I like to heat my vinegars because it gives off more aroma, it gives off more, it just gives off a better taste. You can put it in the windowsill for a couple of days, but I still like to heat my vinegar. So I'm going to dip into the white vinegar. I always try to use plastic dippers and not metal when it comes to vinegar because it just gives off a funny taste sometimes. So I'm going to come over here and fill this up. Sometime when you're making big ones, you should have bigger dippers than I have here right now. But my big dippers seem to disappear somewhere in the night. Okay. Now, what I have here is just the raspberries, the sugar, and vinegar. I'm going to put a lid on it, or a cork. This bottle's too large to cork. So you put a lid on it, shake it up really good, so the sugar starts to dissolve. But the thing is, you leave it out for 1 week, you would leave it on the table, and you would shake that bottle once a day for a week. That's to make sure that the sugar's dissolving evenly and the fruit's dissolving evenly. And then you do that for about a week, and then put it in a nice cool place for about 4 or 5 weeks. It can go forever. You can leave it for 8 weeks if you want, but not before 4 or 5 weeks that I use it. And then you're going to take this, and I'm not going to do it now, but you're going to strain this. And when you strain it, you can either use cheesecloth and a sieve like this, or a coffee filter. But if you use a coffee filter, make sure you only use one. Sometimes we think in our exuberance that if we use 2 or 3 of something, it's better. It's not, because the liquid doesn't go through 2 or 3 coffee filters for quite a while, and it's a mess. So just use the one filter in a basket like this and pour it through, and it'll be clear. And when it's clear, you can do a lot of things with it. You can pour it off into, this is a lot, maybe you want to give it for gift, so you pour it off. And I'm known as the bottle person here. I'll bring them here. I collect bottles anywhere I can. I've been known to take bottles out of someone's trash that I don't know. But I find bottles like this I bought in the store. This I got in a yard sale. These are just beer bottles and different things. And these I would have to use, these two I have to use corks with, because, and this is a self-sealer, and this has its own cork. So whatever you pour this into, and when you drain it, when you make it nice and it's very clear, and I promise you, this is cloudy right now because it's just all fresh juices and stuff. But it will come out, it will be very, very clear. It will be clear like this. This is an herbal one. But see how clear that is? And that's I think 2 years old, and that's still that clear. And then you put them in the bottles you want, and you label them, and then you can have it as long as you want, or if you want to give it as a gift, tie a little bow, do a little thing, put it in a little bag. Those little bags are wonderful now. And the fruit vinegar is very popular right now, if you recall. You go in, they had the raspberry vinaigrettes and all that. Well, this is your own raspberry vinaigrette. So we have that, and that's a little batch we're making here. Let me move these bottles. Whoops, excuse me. Out of the way. Now I'm going to show you how to make a big batch. Here is the big bottle. I also collect these, meaning I go around and I see them and I ask. I don't just take them usually, but if I see someone has them, I'll say, "You use that bottle?" And I take it because they're hard to find. So I think pickles come in these, a lot of different things. Let me tell you how I start making this big of a batch, because this is sufficient. This you could shove. This one you could put basil leaves and no sugar, and just maybe a little garlic, and all, and you get the same effect. But I entered the Philadelphia Harvest Show a great deal. And I think the last 2 years we were down there taping from the Harvest Show. And you have to submit your entries in three of the identical batch in 3 different bottles or something. Well, to make 3 identical of this is difficult, because there would be a difference. So I started to make them in this very big container. And then when I poured it off and poured it into bottles, this again is what I got, the nice bottles. And I bought that one. I didn't find it anywhere. Let me get some herbs I have here. I picked these herbs yesterday because I thought it was going to rain, and it is. And I didn't want to have to go things. I picked them, I cleaned them, I washed them, I made sure all the dirt's out of it and that stuff. This is tarragon. And ironically, it really smells wonderful, the tarragon. So all I'm going to do with that is, you know what I'm looking for? This is what I'm looking for. Dry them. You know the lettuce thing, and you dry your lettuce and stuff? You dry your herbs and all in there, and stuff like this. And the only reason why are you drying them? Because you're going to put them in liquid again, but it's a different liquid. it's water versus a vinegar, and it would dilute it down. So put it in one of your spinners. If you don't have one, you really want, you can buy these really cheap. So what I'm going to do, this is real easy. This is all cleaned and all. I am just going to shove it in the bottle. Tarragon is a flavor unto itself. I usually don't mix tarragon. I have down here, the next layer down is one of my, it looks limp, of course, because I picked it yesterday. This is called lovage. It's from the celery family, and it's just a wonderful warm smell, and I really do enjoy that, doing that. But I also like basil and garlic. Let me mention, if you put garlic in vinegar, it's going to turn an acidy green many times. Not to worry, it's not hurting anything. It's just a food chemical reaction, and it's okay. Just don't put it in a presentation bottle, of course, when you make it up. This is going to look strange. Just throw it out when you take it out. So again, we're back to the tarragon, all the tarragon. Usually in a jar this size, I fill it up as much as I can, and then I fill it up. And here's the, remember I said about the cider vinegar, which is amber in color? It's going to take a little while when you get it filled up. Also what I do that with the cordials more than anything. I use those little old-fashioned canning cups. Just bear with me a minute. We'll get going here. So you're doing stuff like this, you become the mother of invention. Or also, if you become, you do things late at night and you can't find the paper clips you need and all, you learn how to use bobby pins and things like that. So I just think this cup will be, and whoops, it can be messy. Make sure you have towels around to, and it's low here now, and I'm going to pour the rest in. See that wonderful amber color? And it's almost filled. It's almost filled. It's not quite. It doesn't have to be. But what I'll do, since I have vinegar already from the white vinegar, I'll just finish filling it up with that. That doesn't matter. And that way, we'll have a full jar made. Okay. And then what I do is I just poke it to make sure air holes and everything's filled up, and so it's flavor product. Just put on the lid. Make sure you find bottles that the lids fit tightly. I shouldn't do this. I mean, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to take this one. What I usually do is I wait for this vinegar to cool down. A couple hours. It doesn't really matter. I put the lid on like this just so that I don't put it on tight. And then about a couple hours, I screw it tight. And then again, I put that in a nice warm place, but nothing that the temperature's too hot, or I can't say too cold in the summer, because in the summer that's when we usually make. But put it aside in a nice dark corner, and that should again be the 5 or 6 weeks before you use it, the same as the fruit vinegar. Or taste it. If you find out that you like it before, or you want it different, or you don't, it doesn't matter to you, and you want to try it ahead of time, you can do that. This is basically the basics of vinegars. Again, if you need a sheet on this, there will be a sheet available for everybody. And listen, I'm going to go and I'm going to clean this up, and I'll be back in a short time to start with the liqueurs. Bye now. Well, here we are back, and an interesting question came up during the break about vinegars, and someone said, well, how can you say you're making vinegar when it's already vinegar? And I will clarify that to say that it is fruited or herbal vinegars. It's flavored vinegars that we're making here. It's not just vinegar. I have no idea how they distill vinegar. I mean, I sort of know, but I could never even attempt to do it. So that's what was happening here. We were flavoring vinegars. Now we're going off to liqueurs, my favorite thing. I perfect this year after year. And I have quite a few awards in the liqueurs. And again, I don't distill my own alcohol because the state doesn't allow that. So I use the trusty bottles of vodka, the cheapest vodka you can buy. There's nothing saying you have to buy the really good stuff. And that's how I do the flavored liqueurs, and that's what they are. First, I'm going to show you some easy, they're all easy, really. The preparation of the, this is the thing I said, the old-fashioned cup funnel. Here we have Ding cherry. The cherry liqueur was the first one I ever made, and I have to say the cherry liqueur is favorite of most people that I've encountered of what I've made. And it's really simple. There's about 2 pounds of cherries in this jar again, and what I did is I used to pit the cherries because I thought it'd make a great ice cream topping when it was all done. But because it stands so long, all the color comes out of the cherries. It's not real appealing, so it's almost a waste of time to pit all these cherries. What I would do is put them all in here, or you can do it out of here, but I put them in here to get ready, and just poke holes in the cherries. And the reason being, again, you're trying to come up with more surfaces for the alcohol and the flavors to seep in. This is one of the heavier liqueurs in taste, and it's quite sweet. They're all sweet. They're liqueurs. What do you want? So we have that, and you know what? I'm going to have my first cookbook, Downtown Kitchen. That's where all of these recipes appear, and I don't make these a lot. So sometimes I have to go back to my recipe book and see what my recipe is. And in the, I'm going to put some cinnamon sticks in the cherries to give it a nice little warm flavor. Whoops, that's all I have. And then I'm going to take a lemon. All the fruit has been washed, you know, and good because it's going to soak in the liquid. And you just poke the lemon full of holes. Again, that's going to allow the juice to run out and the other juices to run in. And just drop that in there. Then we're going to take 1.5 cups of sugar. If you have the book says 1.75 cups. But over the process of working with this, I found out that 1.5 cups was enough. And you don't have to be accurate. It's nothing about 1.5 cups. If you find you want it sweeter, which I doubt, but you may. That looks sort of pretty there, like that, but that's not the thing. So we now have the cherries, we have cinnamon in this one, and we have a lemon. Nothing worse than gritty sugar. And I'm going to take a bottle of the vodka, and I'm just going to pour that in. And I don't I just pour this, I guess it's a 2-liter bottle. Or it's actually 1.75 liters. I don't put it to the top. Whatever that puts in the bottle, that's what I do. And again, you have to start stirring this to get that sugar mixed up and dissolved. That's the main thing. As with the raspberry vinegar, for a week, 10 days, make sure this isn't hot, so it isn't like the vinegar I didn't want to cover. I covered this, and you can do that every day for about a week. And also be careful and make sure that your jar lid fits tight, or you're aware that it's not fitting tight and it might be leaking out a little. I swear they get bent over the years when you keep these bottles and things. And again, you're going to put this aside for 6 to 8 weeks. And again, but you can keep it beyond 6 to... Well, what you should do after 8 weeks, you're going to pour the liquid off out of this, just like you did with the vinegar. You're going to discard the lemon and then cinnamon sticks and the cherries. By this time, the cherries are really stripped of all their flavor and their color and all. So just disregard all that. you're going to come up with a fairly clear liquid that you need to strain, again, either in the cheesecloth or the coffee filter. And you can strain it into another big bottle and do what you want, or strain it into, this is the cherry liqueur, strain it into the little presentation bottles. This is a wonderful Christmas gift. This and Vinegars, I never thought that much of it, but I have people on my waiting list. I have, you know the vanilla extract we made before? In fact, I have that recipe on the sheet for you. There are people who actually ask me for that. Are you going to do that for Christmas? Is that going to be my Christmas gift? So people do like these and do appreciate them. I know one time people used to think that homemade food and all wasn't appreciated for gifts, but I don't think that's any longer. Another variation of it, the same thing, I had an orange. This orange is, you know, Grand Marnier? Well, you can do Grand Marnier in your kitchen and just as wonderful and just as good and a lot less costly. Again, you start with, if you see down here, this juice, I had already started to, I don't know if you can see it or not, I had already started to poke the oranges. And I get juice oranges, too, if you can get them, because they have more juice and they come out. And you poke them, and you put as many, I'm using 6 because 6 this, and 6 was what, they were 6 for $1.99. So that's why I got 6. The same thing with the lemon that you did with the cherry. I think you all know how to poke a lemon, but I'll make sure. And then I stick that in a jar. Now, remember the cinnamon sticks I put in here? Heavier flavor, different kind of thing. Grand Marnier and orange is like this is made lemon liqueur, which you can do this with all lemons and just think. The cinnamon makes it too heavy. It makes it not what it is. So I don't put it in there. I just use the oranges and the lemons, and I don't put anything in except, and we're back to the sugar. If you get really good juice oranges like we have here, that's all you're going to need. Boy, do the people at the States sure know me. Actually, the guy I was talking to watches the show, so he understands why I go in and get three bottles at a time. And again, we're just going to pour this in. And when we're done this, you know, we're going to take the fruit out. We're going to strain it with this cheesecloth or the coffee filter. See, that fills up a little higher because the oranges pick up more space in the cherries. This is 2 pounds of cherries. This is 6 oranges. Then, here's my lid. I'm going to put the lid on. Seems to fit tight. So again, I'm going to start the process. This takes the same amount of time. They all do. 6 to 8 weeks. 6 weeks is fine. 8 weeks is even better. And that's definitely by 8 weeks you should clean the fruit out. And that's good. And you pour it off, you clean it, and what do you come up with? Something like this. I think this is pretty good. I used an old liquor bottle, and I filled it up, and it is really wonderful. It's great when you're baking cakes and stuff, too. And let's see, what else do we have? Do we have any more liqueurs? We have one, maybe. I make a coffee liqueur. Let me do this. I think I don't want to take up too much time with just liqueurs. There's a coffee liqueur, which is really wonderful and easy, and it's even easier than this. And what you have when you're done, this is the end of last year's coffee liqueur bottle. So that's it, Danny. No more first thing. And it's a wonderful liqueur, and it has the flavor of coffee and has vanilla in it, vanilla beans and all. And I have this recipe will be on the sheet if you want it also. I won't go through the whole process of hot water. You know how to mix things up, so it'll be quite easy. It's let me just taste this. Pretty, as I said, it's over a year old, and it's still pretty good and pretty food. And I know this won a couple of awards at the Philadelphia Harvest Show, so somebody likes it. And it's made with instant coffee, not freeze-dry and not real coffee. It has to be regular old-fashioned instant coffee. Again, this recipe will be on the sheet with all the other recipes. I'm going to put the vanilla on that sheet for you. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with me at Downtown Kitchen, Post Office Box 1660, Norristown, Pennsylvania 19404, and I'll be able to help you with any of your questions. And I'll be willing to sample your liqueurs at any time. No. But so stay with us. We'll be right back. But again, as I said, if you want those recipes and you want an instruction sheet, feel free, send us a stamped addressed envelope, and it'll be yours. You know, it's no problem for me because I do have it and it's ready to go out. And that'll again be the liqueurs, the vinegars, and the vanilla that we made previously and such. One thing I really want to remind you, the Downtown Kitchen newsletter, the first actual edition, not the complimentary edition that I've been sending out, and you can request one of it, but the actual edition will be out in September. Again, remember it's a 4-time-a-year thing, so since autumn is my favorite time of year, I really look forward to this with some stories, you know, like we told you before, we had stories for my column, and we have a lot of new recipes, and we have also we're going to take you to some places that might be a great place to take your family to eat. Again, it's not a critique of the restaurant as much as the atmosphere, the ambiance of the restaurant or the eating place that we look at. And we look at the cookbooks that you might find interesting, whether you look at it before you purchase it, and items like that. So we have a busy fall coming up, and I look forward to seeing you, and take care, and good cooking and good eating.